And with that, I introduce Craig Brown.
Yeah, I have a pretty good voice in Terry, so. But it's kind of funny because the first time I ever met Gary was actually here in Paulden at a Paco meeting about 6, 7, 8 years ago. So, and we were talking water, we were talking about the birdie, got me going. So I started attending CWAG meetings on the weekend as much as I possibly could before I got elected. Now I don't have time to do anything, so except go to me. But I wanted to come by and say hi to everybody. I wanted to give you the update. I talked to Alan today from ADOT in regard to the speed signs. The news is not good, folks. Originally, he told me that we'd be in by January. I remember telling you that. He said, yeah, I remember I told you that. And then I told Paco later it was going to be March. And he said, well, now it looks like it's probably going to be something. And I saw him popped out. He says, the problem is ADOT right now. ADOT's caught in the budget front. They haven't got any crews, no extra money, and all the same thing I always hear. And I said, we can talk only maybe a half a dozen signs. I mean, it doesn't take a lot. And he said, well, remember we did the speed study? And it showed that the speeds there are okay, and that they're within the ranges. They say it's okay to have it at 65. I'm going, well, wait a minute, what about the left turners? Started arguing. He says, I know. He says there's a lot of information that are involved due to the speed limits in this area. He says, but I'm trying to get by and get through the red tape that he's sitting down in Phoenix. So I'll give him some time and talk to him some more, probably this next month at our simple meeting. But that's the reality of it. Somebody had told me at a meeting I was at Valley that it had been reduced. I said, yeah, but no, it's still 65. So when will they get it done? I don't know. After a while, when I get really ticked off, I'll write another letter, but that's about all I can really do. Send it to the powers that be and hope somebody pays attention. But that's all you can really do. Did you all turn in a pink sheet? Who turned in a pink sheet? George is the only one. The only one that turned in a letter to ADOT. Now, come on, folks. Oh, change it, okay. We had the pink slip here. We had the pink slips here. If you had one, you could have filled it out and sent it to Alvin. I mean, every piece of paper that ends up there, they don't ignore it. They can't, because it's somebody taking the time and money to put it in the mailbox. So I would suggest, guys, in those pink slips left, send them to Alvin and say, yeah, I want the speed limit lowered down to 45, not 55. Then, later on down the road somewhere, we've already talked to our engineers, we'll work with ADOT and see what we can do about getting a left-hand turn lane, at least in that 1 quarter, correct. But I'm not going to pay it down next week. This is not. But the news out of the state is the governor got up and he said, okay, I'm not raising taxes. We're going to balance the budget. What he didn't tell you was the cities and the counties are going to pay for it. They're not going to give us the money we normally get from out of the state. Lottery money, canceled. $550,000 for the county alone. That's not talking about Prescott Valley, Chino, all the cities where they were supposed to get it. PSPRS is a retirement system for law enforcement firefighters. Went up for the county alone, our bill is this year $1 million. Below okay last year. So that's $1 million that we don't have. Then you start looking at it and all the other things that have been rolled into down lawsuits for this and that. Lawsuits for the school, $300 million. State, 1 year, 3 years, we got to pay back $1 billion. Interest and stuff like that. Frankly, I don't know what's going to happen because we're at bare minimum now. We talked about the jail. We've done everything we can to find ways to do that. And right now, we're at a point where we got to cut services and you got to raise that. That's it. There's no other way to go. Our shortage coming from the state and the increase in costs, $3.5 million right now. Not this year, right now. So that's not good news. I don't know where we're gonna go. I can't tell you where it is, because there's a lot of different thoughts out there. City of Prescott, I was listening to them on the news today on the way home. They were talking, that's all they could talk about was the budget and the trouble there. So I'm sure Prescott Valley's no better than anywhere else. I don't know what to tell you. Anybody got any questions or any thoughts on this? Sure.
Let me add just one point to the speed issue. We have school buses that go up and down 89 and stop to let children off. People coming down this hill, you know they're not doing 55, and they're stopped along the way.
You guys got a copy of that letter? Exactly what I
That's
told Dayton.
That's a state issue.
I pointed out to him that we've had 13 injuries and 2 deaths that occurred here in the last 4 months when I wrote it in January. One of them was a school bus, 13 kids and 2 adults injured. What can I say? You know, ADOT's not paying attention. Their priority is doing their
Just throw our hands up.
Yeah, well, not from up. Pull out that piece of paper and send it. I mean, really, get out and do it. Petitions, you know, they do make a difference because they don't go away. They're sitting on somebody's desk and they got to look at it every day. I basically told Alan, I said, you tell those people in ADOT if something happens out here that's tragic, I'm going to be the guy that's on their side and goes to court against you. Okay? Because I've warned you, we've told you, we've asked you, we've done everything we possibly can legally to try and get that speed reduced in that area. So we'll see what happens.
My suggestion is that you guys go see Karen Fan, go see Noel Campbell, you go see
I'll be with
Steve
Noel
Pierce.
Campbell tomorrow night.
You go see Steve Pierce and you say, look, this is preposterous what I'm hearing, this is just preposterous. And let them, get them to work with you. That's their job at the state level, you know, is to work for you. You can call up down there at the Capitol, make an appointment, those people, I was down there last week talking to them. It's easy to do, and they'll work for you. You need to get a delegation of people, and then while you're there, go down there and look at the director, ADOT, across the desk in the eyeball, and make this happen. This is ridiculous.
We had a rural transportation summit up in Flagstaff. We went up there and talked to the transportation board, and as soon as I brought it up, they knew exactly who it was. They got the letters, they knew what I was talking about. And here we were talking about 6 stinking signs, and that's all you really need. And you still can't get it done. I mean, you know, you have to figure that. Tom.
I have a question here. How many years span has this been researched in this area that we've had the school bus? I mean, how many years is it taking to add that?
Well, the folks who live out here have been out for a long time. I mean, you guys all know of accidents that occur here. People, you know, make left turns into the post office or right turns into the, you know, the gas station, slowing down, the guy behind you doesn't and rams into your side. What can you say?
2003, there was, right out here at Holiday Ways, there was a school bus that stopped. There was a truck that was pushed into the school bus by a cement truck. Nobody was killed, but the 4 people in the pickup truck are paralyzed for life.
Yeah. There's been a bunch of different tragedies out there in regards to, you know, accidents and that, and they have all the statistics on that. It's not like they don't.
Well, my thought pattern is this: I drive a school bus. I pull off to the post office. I use their apron to go into the post office area and then head south.
Right.
There are people that use that whole stretch. They don't use that apron. They use that whole stretch to pull into the post office. So they got to put a fence up there to keep them from driving into that area.
I have seen guys go on the right side and around people and out through the mix.
Oh, well, they just go right through the amber lights when the bus has those on too. They just drag on through. They don't care.
You know, we can't control exactly like what everybody in most kids do. It's a law-abiding guy who wanted to try and influence to slow down. A flashing light up in the outside, I asked ADOT for it. They said no. So we're doing the best we can, but the squeaky wheel is the one that gets greased.
Well, what I'm getting at though is I pull off 89 5 times.
you're doing.
No,
That's
what I'm
good.
saying though is the speed is not that big of a deal. People, I think, today are impatient. You know, I mean, really, I'm not saying that the idea to slow down the speed limit right through Paulden it's manageable.
Well,
You
you
got a
know,
school bus that takes forever to get going.
one of the things that most people don't realize is that the amount of traffic is cars going both directions, Portis Junction, Flagstaff, is the same amount that travels on this road.
Straight cars like me from the morning going back.
It's hard to believe, but it is. It's the same. And this is a 2-lane country road, and that's a freeway divided. So, sure.
Did Alvin give you how much it would cost to put up those signs?
Sure.
I know, but
I told Al, and I said, look, you give us a sign, we'll put them up. The county will just tell us we can't. Because, you know, it's ADOT property, the county can't just go out there and do what they want.
How about if they just appear?
I think Karen Finn's on the transportation committee.
This is Bob's idea, but I'm gonna steal it anyhow. And you mentioned it just a moment ago about a flashing sign. Years ago, I'm certain I used to see a sign that had a little flashing light and said congestion ahead. And it does nothing but warn you, but it brings you alive just for a minute or two to say, what is that congestion? And you slow down a little.
The primary sign is what we're talking about is what they call now the slow down sign. It says speed zone ahead. Okay, which means it's a reduction in speed. Then you put up your speed sign, 45, 55, then 45, whatever it takes to get it to slow down. But, you know, guys coming through Drake and the trucks down here 65 miles an hour, they can't stop on time. That's why they get that whole school bus. So, no. And most people around here being in a hurry, do we stay a car length away for 10 miles we're doing? Probably not. I had a guy down 75 tonight on the way here. So, you know, and he lives here, turned right over here on one of the roads. We'll do the best we can, but it helps when you get the support. Like Gary was saying, you gotta get out there and support us. Because I talked to Seawag, I said, here I am fighting for rainwater harvesting ordinances. There's not a person in the audience backing me up. I'm not blaming them. But you need to have backup. Power is people being there and speaking their minds about things like this. You can't do it all on your own. You haven't got any juice.
That's why I think you need to go see your state legislators. Karen Fann, I think I recall she's on the transportation committee. That would be
They took her off.
They did?
They took her off.
They took her off.
He's on insurance, something important.
You gotta get down there at the state level and get the people that you elected that are working for you and solving this problem. This is preposterous that this has gone on so long. I remember people complaining about this 3 or 4 years ago when I was here talking to you guys. It was the same thing, the same kind of complaints. You gotta do something different or it isn't gonna change. Get down there and talk to the state legislature. Call Karen and make an appointment.
Well,
Say, hey, we
well,
need,
Karen says she'll come to our meetings.
Have her
Because
in.
I'm gonna invite her here.
and he told me he's telling you the same thing. How many times you show up?
I know, but Karen has them.
It's just, you gotta stay on. You gotta write them emails, you gotta send them a note, you gotta be on. I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, you all know my home phone number, you know where I work, you know where I live. So,
And I'm sure
stay
Noel
on.
Campbell used to come. Noel Campbell used to come.
Who?
Noel used to come to our meetings.
No, he's right now, they dropped 500 bills in one day. 500. You can imagine how much homework he's doing. So, I'll see him tomorrow night. So, we're going up there. One thing Gary was saying though is, you know, I don't believe we're going to be solving in our lifetime this water issue. We're not going to solve it, but we don't need to be a part of the problem. So do what you can when you can. And that'll help some bit. Water, one of the biggest things right now is a really clean water in Arizona costs too low.
Yep.
And everybody goes, hey man, you want higher water rates? I want higher water rates, but I want to make sure I got water. So people in Prescott pay the highest water rates in the county. And they still use the plant, it's free. So, anything else you want to add? Rose?
Any status on the building?
On what?
On the building,
No, all I know is right now is that on the 3rd of October, the permit ran out. Okay? They have until March 1st to renew the permit. That's it. And the permit has to be for a community center, not a fire station, because it is not a fire station. Okay? That's it. Anything else? Jerry, you want to say anything?
That's about it. We are looking at doing a community center. We're going to go through the process. We've had the county out here evaluating the building.
Yeah, they did.
They did come out. Mark, I believe, came out.
No, wasn't it?
No, Mark.
Oh,
I
Mark.
believe, no, Steve.
Big heavy set guy?
Yeah.
Dave.
Yeah, he came out to the building, gave us the information. So that's in
That's about where it's at, so that's all I can tell you.
Stove is gone.
Yeah, one of the things they recommend is stove leaves. So, there may be some changes, you will be noticing changes, all recommended by the county. So,
Yeah, certain things, run a community center, you gotta have certain things, gotta be ADA compliant, you gotta have a parking lot, you gotta have all this stuff. And there's a lot of federal regulations involved and everything. Anything else anybody wants to talk about? Watch the budget, bill. Watch it, that's gonna be the other thing.
I noticed that, at the recent supervisors meeting, it was that there were short-term rentals. Are there very many in Paulden? I don't think so.
No, not short term. Now this guy,
That-
the one that you saw in the paper, the one James talked about, this guy had lived there for a while. He had a little cottage outside of his house, he fixed it up, really cute actually. And he was using it as a short-term rental being weekenders. Because these houses up in this particular area, for years and years, probably 30, 40 years, there were people who came up, had little tiny cabins, and they came up here from out of the valley and spent the summer up here where it was nice and cool and fine. And this guy had one of these, and he was renting out short term. One of his neighbors called us and said, hey, this guy's renting this thing out on the weekends, and they're not supposed to do that. So he didn't even know he wasn't supposed to do it. He came in and said, I didn't know. He said, I'll stop doing it and I'll fix it and I'll ask for a permit to do it. So he came to us and said, yeah, he's been doing it all along. And all his neighbors said he'd been doing it for years and years and years. There was no problem. It's a 300 square foot cabin. You know how many people fit 300 square feet? Not many. And he said, I only need it for 2 people because that's all I let ever stay there. We gave it, he said, well, maybe they'll have children, so we let them have it. But if he has any problems, any noise issues or anything like that, we shut him down. He knows it. A lot of stipulations on that. What we're worried about is the ones that are bringing people out here and creating businesses in a residential area. That's the problem we're worried about. And we don't want that. Because that is the issue.
How does the sod farm fit in as a business in a residential area?
Who?
The sod farm?
Well, that's ag land. It's ag land being for an ag purpose.
How do they get it made?
Your land, you're probably ag land too.
Really?
Some agree. Everybody, how big is your foot?
7.5?
Okay, you can have animals, you can have ag.
So that's considered a home?
Yeah. So, you're part of the lot split, which is another story Gary will go over on Saturday.
Steve,
Or Steve will go. Lot splits are nice. Effective. Anything else? Everybody's tired, hurry up here.